the rest of a number 10 can of beans soaking overnight. And we are going to can these up. Oh, that one went down the drain. Try not to get them down the drain, because if you have a garbage disposal, these beans are still hard. Whoa. Should just get a strainer, I think. Might be a little bit more helpful. So I'm just going to rinse these off one more time. I rinsed them twice yesterday, and now I let them soak overnight. And now we'll get them strained out, and then put in a clean pot, and we'll cover that with warm water, and we'll get them up to boiling. So the instructions I'm using come from the, wow, I have to really get down there. The instructions I'm using come from the National Center for Home Food Preservation, and that will call for us to get these up to boiling for half an hour. And then once they're warmed up, the jars are already in my dishwasher, and I can jar them up once they get hot. So So our beans have cooked for half an hour. I did drain them, and I put some clean fresh water in the pot and have that on high over here. So while that's warming up, we are going to go ahead and divide these beans between the 7 quarts. I think when I read on the National Center for Home Food Preservation site, it says you'll need about 5 pounds for a canner load. And I had, I think I did take some beans out for the previous video, but I think there will be enough here to divide between 7. And if not, there will be lots of liquid in each of the jars, which I tend to like my beans more liquidy than really thick and beany. I don't like when they're a brick in there and I have to scrape them out. Nothing wrong with that. That's just not my preference. So, and you'll see here, like right there, there's actually a couple of pinto beans in there. It's not going to hurt anything. I mean, if you want to get picky about it, you can pick them out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and just leave them in there. So. So the beans are all divided between the 7 quarts. I'm going to go ahead and put in my teaspoon of salt. And if you watched my video yesterday, you know that the salt is optional. But beans, to me, are very, very bland without it. So we're going to add the salt. There's that. And now we're just going to start filling up with our water. And we're going to be filling up to 1-inch headspace. Now the fluid that I had cooked these in for that half an hour, you can actually pan with that same water. I was noticing that it was kind of cloudy and there was a lot of foam, probably the gas stuff that the beans let off of. So I just made the executive decision as the boss canner in my family that I was going to put nice clean water in here, and I want to see if maybe the beans come out a little clearer, because I know even the ones that I canned yesterday, obviously I canned them with the original liquid, and they are cloudy. So I'd like to see if I can get maybe a little clearer product on the shelves, and we'll see how that turns out. So they're all filled up to the 1-inch line. We're going to go through and debubble all of them just like we would with any other project that we're working on. I'm anxious to see when these get done, how much liquid these beans soaked up, if any, since I soaked them overnight and they cooked for half an hour. I'm very curious. All right, so let me just make sure headspace all still looks good. See, I still am getting some of the foam in there. I think that's just the beans letting off some of their gases. I think, what do I know? Like I said, I don't can beans normally this way, so this is the approved method. So if you're gonna follow me and you want to do it the right way, this is definitely the right way to do it, not the no-soak method. I think most people do the no-soak just because it's so much quicker. I mean, you put the beans in, a lot of people don't even barely wash their beans. I've seen them just take them right out of the bag, scoop them up and put them in, and they're off and running to the races in, 15 minutes. I'm a little bit more thorough than that, just because I have gotten rocks and stuff in my beans, so I always sort through and kind of rinse them off just to get any dirt and whatnot off. But you do what you're comfortable with. That's a nice thing about being in our own kitchens. We get to do what we want to do. I'm going to start putting those in the canner. Canner's already heating up over here. I have it over medium heat currently. And I'll put that up. Those jars are hot. And there's the last jar. Aren't those pretty? They turned out really good. Well, we'll see what they look like when they come out of the canner, but I expect they're going to turn out good. So I'll get the lid on the canner and get it evened out, and then I'll turn it up to probably not high, but a high heat, and get it up to pressure. And let it vent for 10 minutes, put the weight on, get it up to pressure, and they will pressure can for 90 minutes. So I'll bring you back when they are ready to come out of the canner. All right, so these have been sitting for 5-10 minutes after it got down to 0. I removed the weight and let it set for a few minutes. Then I loosened up all of the lug nuts, the screws, and let it sit for a few more minutes, and now they are ready to come out. And those look fantastic. You can see they're a little bit, actually look a little bit fuller than the ones that I did yesterday, at least to my eyes. But they look fantastic. We'll have to find out in the morning whether they're bean bricks or not. Fingers crossed they're not, because I do not like bean bricks. See some pintos in there. We'll get all these out, and then Becca can give you a close-up of all of them. I don't know what it is about the boiling, but I like watching them boil when they come out. That's kind of cool. Of course, it's not near as satisfying as hearing the ping. And I don't think I've heard a ping yet. So I don't know if they all pinged before, which they do sometimes. I don't really, well, there might be one that looks like it's still up a little bit. It looks like most of the lids are down already, so they might have already pinged. Oh well. All right, so there they are. And I'll bring you back again in the morning, just like I did with the other one, so you can take a look and see the difference in how full the jars are and the consistency. I feel like the beans did come out a little bit whiter, although it still looks like the jars are still a little bit colored. So I'm fine with that. I just wanted to try it with the fresh water and see how they turned out. And so far, I'm liking what I see. We'll see what, when they're cooled off, if I still feel that way. See you in the morning. Well, here we are with the beans after following the approved method for canning them. Just like the last go around, I washed this end jar, and you can see what I don't like about having them so full like that is look how thick they are. They're just, that's that bean brick that I was telling you about. I don't like that. But they look great in there. And you know, you can take a spoon or a spatula and scrape them out, and they're going to taste great and they're going to work great. But that was even using less than the 5 pounds that the approved method said we would need. So I don't know. I like the dry bean method, and let me go grab a jar of the other one so I can just show you now that it's been, oh gosh, I think a week since I've done that video. Hold on. So here is a jar that I just pulled off the shelf. And you can see, I mean, there's a little bit at the bottom there, but not near as much as the bricky part from, and this is one that I've already washed. I mean, I've jiggled it around a lot. This one I haven't touched yet, so I mean, you can just see that that's a bean brick right there. I mean, it is not even moving. So anyway, I mean, those have been sitting there for 4 days because I worked, and those have been sitting for a week. So there you have it. I prefer the no soak over the approved method. Of course, with the approved method, you could always just put less beans in, which, you know, then you're going to get the same consistency as that no soak. But it just seems weird to me that, I don't know. And maybe it's just your preference. If you like the bean brick, then go with the bean brick. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great day. Bye-bye.